and favor as your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this country and the Republic of Kenya. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our county and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen. Thank you, honorable members. Welcome, Madam Irine Choge, for this particular sitting. I want to start with introductions, starting from my extreme right.
My name is Barnaba Koske. I'm the clerk to Nandi County Assembly.
Gideon Koech, member of Appointment Committee.
Cynthia Muge, member of the Appointment Committee and Chair.
Eliud Kirongo, member of this committee.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Irine Choge. Let me welcome you to this particular sitting, and I would want to ask you to submit all your original documents for circulation on the table. The clerk will pick it. Okay. Thank you. The documents are here. So I will give you a minute or two to introduce yourself.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Irine Jepkorir Choge. I come from Nandi County, Chisumi constituency, Kosirai Ward, Karlil village. I am a teacher by profession. I teach at Kaiboi Technical Training Institute. Okay. Yes, I teach at Kaiboi Technical Training Institute. That is just a brief introduction of me.
Thank you very much. I would want to know what are your academic qualifications?
Okay, thank you, Chair. I began school at Cartel Primary School, did my KCP, then went to Kapsabet Girls for KCC certificate. I have a degree in Bachelor of Education, English and Literature. I also have a master's in language education. I'm a PhD candidate at Moi University. I am at the stage of collecting data. I've also begun doing CS courses with CASNEB, though I'm still at the earliest stages. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a honorable member who just came in. Let me give him a chance to introduce himself.
Okay, thank you, member. I am Honorable David Wambok, member of Appointment Committee.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable David Wambok. Now, Irene, I have one last question for you before the honorable members of this particular committee proceed with their questions that they have for you. I want to know in a nutshell, what do you think makes you suitable for this particular job?
My career in leadership began in high school. I've been a leader. When I began teaching, I've also been a leader at various levels, because this is a leadership position. Right now, currently at Kaiboi TTI, I'm the coordinator of guidance and counseling department. Now, in this department, we do reporting, we do sensitization, we do plans for meetings, we do budgets. We also do advocacy, and these experiences and the skills that I've acquired in terms of interpersonal skills, in terms of attitudes, positive attitudes towards fairness and justice, and doing things the right way. I believe those are things that make me qualified for this position.
Thank you. I will give a chance to the honorable members to be able to ask you the questions.
Thank you, Chair. Karibu sana, Madam Irene.
Thank you.
Maybe I would start by asking this. You are not new to this county assembly.
I am not new.
How would you explain? Is it sheer luck, or there is some way you maneuver in between to make sure that you are within and among those who are favored by God to be nominee for these positions? Like you are nominated, you are, once applied for County Assembly Service Board, and fortunately or unfortunately, you didn't pass the test in this assembly. So could you explain, is it sheer luck, or how can you explain the fact that you are within a period of 1 year or so, you are here again on another position? Probably maybe the same, because it was County Assembly Service Board, now it is County Public Service Board.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the question. I think it is because of sheer luck, not sheer luck, hard work and determination, that I want to be a leader in this county, and in my own small way, make a difference. And when I applied for the member of the County Assembly Service Board, I just did my best, and it was just by not having the latest EACC certificate that let me down. Others, I had qualified from the basic to the highest level, and through God's grace, I'm here still for the Public Service Board, and I thank God.
Fair enough. County Public Service Board is part of the policy making organ in terms of human resource. How do you intend to use your position if approved? Because the same way SRC does regulates the issues of salaries, how would you perform, or what is your take in as far as issues of the human resource in the county as it stands now, and how did you improve in terms of salaries vis-a-vis management of the wage bill?
Thank you. If you look at the county human resource versus the wage bill, you realize that it might look like the wage bill is huge, but if certain things are done, for example, if staff rationalization is done, say that someone does the job that he is trained for and does it perfectly, and the person is remunerated according to the service that he or she is offering, and that will make sure that the person is remunerated according to the work that he or she does. Number two, wage bill can be managed in other ways apart from just salaries. For example, in terms of allowances, or in terms of allowances, someone can be given a very competitive salary, say that the allowances are reduced, and this will of course save a few coins. There are also other ways. For example, maybe if the county government can ensure that there's really a good way of collecting revenue, because Nandi is a very rich county. Say that if revenue is adequately collected, then of course the issue of wage bill will not arise.
So you've mentioned issues to do with revenue collection, but you know that will be in the purview of other organs of the government. Were the revenue or you are saying that part of the intervention that you would request that it be taken into consideration is improving on the
revenue collection.
Fair enough. How
just before, in regards to increasing revenue collection, and in regards to ensuring that there is competitive salary to reduce issues to do with allowances, in your own capacity, what exactly are you going to do to ensure that this revenue is collected maximally in Nandi and that the salaries are competitive in your position if given a chance to be a member of the service board? What exactly are you going to do?
In terms of salaries, I think I talked about staff rationalization, so that the qualifications of a member of staff and the skills and the professionalism of this member of staff is matched with the job that one does. So therefore, what happens is the person is able to do the work adequately and is appropriately remunerated without the increase of allowances. So that will save the county some money. Now, in terms of revenue collection, maybe the only thing I can do is give suggestions, okay? Because that is not in the docket of Public Service Board.
This is a very hard position, the county public service board member. You are in between doing what is right and doing what the politicians, for that matter. For instance, you are nominated by the governor for this position. How would you, in your own way as a member, strive to ensure that there is independence of the county public service board?
As Irene, as a person, the best ways of ensuring that the board is independent is follow the rule of law, is follow the law. What does the law say? If, for example, there's pressure from any quarter, then of course you have to follow what the law says, and you have to follow the public service, the Public Service Ethics Act, for example, of 2013, and the principles of public service. If you go outside the law, then of course you will have to submit to the pressure. And then again, even if the appointing authority is the governor, the board is independent in its own capacity, because this is a board that makes its own budget, so it cannot be manipulated in terms of salaries and remuneration.
Lastly, as the rest of the honorable members ask more questions, as per the County Government Act, it provides for regular reporting to the assembly by the service board, being an independent body. How do you intend to foster that, to ensure that we have regular reports from the service board, especially coming from the backdrop that where we have had very volatile situation between the county assembly and the executive? How do you intend to foster?
I'm very sure that the Public Service Board has a work plan. And in this work plan, if appointed, then of course we shall ensure that the reporting is scheduled in the work plan. Say that at the end of each quarter, it is scheduled that there is a meeting that ensures, a meeting is done that ensures that the secretary to the board presents a report to the board so that it can be submitted to the county assembly. And of course, I'm very sure that between the county government and the county assembly, there must be a way that teamwork is done, because there's no way that the county government can survive without the county assembly, and the Public Service Board cannot survive without the county assembly. So there must be a way that each and every entity of the government works with the other.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning.
Good morning.
Going through your CV, I've realized that you've been a teacher, you've been a deputy a principal in that capacity, and that you are a lecturer at Kaiboi Technical. Is it polytechnic or technical?
Technical Training Institute.
Yes. Now, can you distinguish to us between suspension and interdiction as administrative disciplinary mechanism?
Thank you. In Kenya, there's a thin line between, there's a very thin line between showing the difference between suspension and interdiction. Most of us use both terms interchangeably. But you see, suspension is given to a person both when you okay, let me begin again. You can give both to a person as a way of correction, okay? But in terms stopped, okay? And usually interdiction is seen as punitive, so that the person redeems himself or herself. Now, suspension, someone is given, but sometimes the allowances are just removed. The salary is removed, but the person still earns an allowance pending investigations into the alleged cases of indiscipline. Yeah, and of course, as I said, interdiction is sometimes after interdiction, someone is already punished enough, but in suspension, someone can be suspended and then now after investigation is interdicted.
Fair enough. Now, if approved to serve as a board member, how will you promote the independence of the board without the compromise of any other government senior officials or even the assembly?
Thank you. I think the independence of the board is promoted through just following the law and the stipulated regulations, and ensuring that natural justice happens in terms of appointments, in terms of setting up of offices, in terms of abolishing offices, so that if you are able to follow the law, then of course the independence of the board is upheld.
Thank you, Chair.
Welcome, Irene.
Thank you.
So maybe I may ask one question. I have just seen and gone through most of the vetting members have been teachers. Was actually the secret behind this, because whenever we have gone through, most of you from day one now, what is the secret behind that? Because you are now one of the members who has proved also that you have been a teacher.
Thank you
You are
so
still
much.
a teacher.
Thank you. You know, teaching is a noble profession. And in teaching, from day one, from the day that you are even on TP, you are just a leader. At classroom level, to the field, to being an administrator, you're just a leader. There's no way that you can be a teacher and you're not a leader. Because even as you stand to teach a class of 40 students or even 50, you are already leading those students towards a certain goal, towards achieving a certain goal. And I think that is why, and you know, also as a teacher, because you face the parents, you face the students, you face the administration, you are also in the village, and you are also seen as a leader. It builds these leadership qualities in us, and that is why and also as teachers, we are the eyes of the society, because we live in the society, we live in the community, we live in the village. We are able to see what are the actual needs of the people, and maybe this propels us to want to be in leadership position, so that we can be able to change in our own small way, the society.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe before that, are you saying that anybody who is a teacher is a leader? I seem to get that point, that anybody who is a teacher is a leader, and maybe vice versa is true to the rest of the profession.
Anybody who is a teacher is a leader, but the vice versa is not true.
Fair enough.
Thank you, Irene. There's a question again that I want to ask. The county public service board is responsible for undertaking disciplinary matters of county employees. There are cases where the board has taken a long period of time to conclude on disciplinary cases. What do you think is the appropriate period of time for the board to conclude on disciplinary cases as per your ruling?
Thank you so much. Any disciplinary case that takes a long period of time. You see, discipline is supposed to be redemptive, not punitive, so that the character of a person is improved, not worsened. So any disciplinary case that takes a long period of time, the person becomes worse because the person is left outside for a long period of time without a clear verdict. So in my own view, I feel that disciplinary cases should take the shortest time possible, unless, of course, there are investigations to be done and a lot of things that needs verification, justification, and such kind of a thing. But I believe it should take the shortest time possible, a month, 3 months, yeah.
Thank you. There's one last question, Irene. There was a time that you had shown yourself in your application in this assembly that you had really met the points, and others did follow you. But by then you didn't make it because of one. So what are your opinion to others whenever you are preparing for any vetting position? Because even without knowing that there is something that you have left, what would you be, in your opinion, that you tell others while preparing for certain panel? Because even a very simple thing can just remove you from the panel, and yet you are already passed all the marks. Because by then we saw you as being somewhere ahead. And what can you also tell members, those who sometimes, whenever they are defeated, they just lose hope in their society and the community at large?
Thank you so much. One, whenever you are applying for any position, be very, very careful in submitting your documents. Ensure that all your documents are in order, so that there is no reason for you not to, because a slight, even a change of a date or a document that is not up to date will really, really put you down. Yeah, so people really need to be very careful whenever they are applying for any position. Number two, in life we don't give up. We fight till we get what we want. We don't give up. So anyone out there who has ever applied for a job and has not gotten because of one reason or another, they have no reason to give up at all. Because it is not only in the assembly that I've applied for jobs, even in the county government. I've applied for, this is my 7th year applying for jobs. Since the beginning of the county governments, I've always applied for jobs. So people should not give up. It might take time, yes, but you'll always be there.
Thank you. So you are the best example.
Honorable Majority.
Maybe before majority comes in,
Yes, Honorable Gideon.
you are saying this is the 10th time,
The 7th time.
the 7th time,
The 7th year,
the 7th year
yes.
applying for a job, and you are in. Why were you applying for a job and you are in a better position as compared to the rest of the residents of Nandi? You are in a better position.
There's always something better for tomorrow. There's always something good. There's always something better. I know even you agree with me, Mheshimiwa, that after you being an MCA, you want to be the governor, the president of Kenya. So there's always something better for tomorrow.
Those are not my words. They are Irene's word. But anyway, thanks for the best wishes.
Yes, Honorable Majority Leader.
Thank you, Irene. I like the way you have put it for Honorable Gideon. First of all, let me congratulate you once again.
Thank you.
I think this is the second time you are facing us in the Assembly.
Thank you.
And as Honorable Bwamboka said, you really don't lose hope. As you've said, you have applied for these jobs for the last 7 years. How did you feel previously when you lost, not even in the Assembly, in the executive? Did you feel it was fair?
Sometimes I lost fairly.
Yeah.
There were people who are better qualified than me
Yeah.
at that particular time.
Okay.
There were people who had better experiences than me. There were people who had been in public service. I had just been a teacher. So there were people who were better than me.
So they were fair?
They were fair.
Thank you. Now, the board at all times is to protect the interest as it regards its mandate, the interest of the public. Do you think the public has confidence with the Nandi County Public Service Board?
As a representative of the public, yes. Because I've been
I
there.
mean from the public, yeah, you've come from public.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I've been there I've been interviewed. We've always been interviewed so many times. And I've always felt that they are fair. It is only that you just have to be persistent and improve yourself, improve your CV, go back to school or get a better experience so that you are better placed.
So as you come in now as the member of the board, how will you inspire the confidence of the service board to the public?
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. It is just simple. By ensuring that natural justice and fairness is done. Say that no one feels that they are left out because they are marginalized or because of one or two things. Someone out there should feel that as much as I didn't get, but fairness and justice was done.
Secondly, there have been issues of ethnicity, marginalization, and so on. How will you be able now to manage as you come in as a member of the service board? Because there have been at times during employment, there are people who feel marginalized when they don't get that opportunity. Maybe even they did not qualify. By the fact that they are marginalized, they feel they have been left out because of being marginalized. How will you be able to deal? At times also issues of ethnicity. You know, some people, even as much as maybe they did not qualify, they will always feel they were not given because of maybe a certain ethnic group. How will you be able to do and balance the same?
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Maybe one of the ways of making sure that people do not feel you see, someone will feel marginalized because of lack of information. Maybe they do not understand. Though the qualifications are stipulated clearly when you are applying for that job. Maybe a list of members who qualified and their qualifications and the experiences should be put in public so that someone can be able to gauge and see that surely I was not left out because of being marginalized or because I come from a different tribe or something like that. So that you see, when you have a list like what we have now, if someone sees the list that was submitted to the county assembly, you see someone will be able to say, now this person qualified because the requirements to be a member of the board is A, B, C, D. So the person will be able to compare the qualifications of, say, Irene plus the required qualifications. And therefore, that person will know that this was fair. And of course, if you look at the public service, the County Government Act, the part for the public service, you'll realize that it gives clear guidelines on how appointments, promotions, and everything is done. So that if it is followed, even people with disabilities, people who are marginalized are taken care of in terms of appointments and everything else. So say that if it is followed, then of course no one should feel marginalized.
Just before the majority concludes, Madam Irene Choge, you addressed this panel through the chair. I've had you a number of times address Moshimiwa's. I thought it was a bit of anxiety, but it has come out repeatedly. So you addressed this panel through the chair.
I'm sorry.
My question has disappeared. Now, the board is in charge of doing the disciplinary of the staff. Previously, it has taken so long to conclude those disciplinary cases for some of the staff. What is the appropriate period that the disciplinary process should take before it comes to a conclusion?
Okay, Chair. I believe I had also already answered, but I can still answer.
Okay.
That this disciplinary time should take the shortest time possible. As a month or 3 months, so long as investigations and everything else has been done. But of course, there are cases that will take longer because of investigations. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I wish you success.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, honorable members. I still have a few just before we conclude, Madam Irene. You know that a number of things are politically influenced. And in this county, there have been contracts. There are contracts that range between 1 year and 3 years. And in the past, there's been a lot of political pressure to renew these contracts. And as you've put it correctly, the wage bill is a bit high in this county. And some of the contributing factors of this particular high wage bill is this renewal of contracts because of political pressure. In your position as a board member, what are you going to do with these particular contracts? Because as you go to office, there are contracts which will be expiring as soon as in the next 4, 5, or 6 months, and those that will expire in maybe the next 1 year. What are you going to do as a board, considering there is political pressure to renew these contracts?
Thank you, Chair. This has to do with professionalism. As in, if someone is on contract and their services are no longer required, okay, now what happens is you look at the services that the person is offering. If the services are still required, then of course the person is retained. But if not, the political pressure really will not come in, because the law is very clear. You really have to stand your ground.
Thank you. So it is your undertaking to this appointment committee that political pressure will not be able to influence in your capacity as a member of the board if given an opportunity. Political pressure will not supersede professionalism.
Yes, exactly. That is what I'm saying.
This particular committee will still be here when the time comes.
Thank you.
The next question I would want to ask you is about a very thorny issue in this particular county. There are casual workers who work both in the hospital and who work as security guards. It has been a big problem in terms of payment of these particular persons, and actually the failure of the county government to be able to pay these particular persons. You can imagine that the employment of this person emanated from the Public Service Board. And there's no tangible action that has been taken to be able to reduce the cases of these particular casuals not being paid. As a member of this board, if given an opportunity, what are you going to do? Because there are so many historical injustices and the people are still working as casuals and they do not get their remuneration at all.
I don't know whether what I'm going to suggest is out of place, but I think casuals and cleaners. You said cleaners, is it? Casuals, who work in hospitals.
Yes.
Now, the core mandate of the county government, I think. I think by the time it reaches the cleaners, the core mandate of the county government is getting lost. So maybe such a thing like cleaners can be subcontracted for someone else, so that justice is done to this cleaner. Say that the person who is given this contract, for example, is able to pay, and there is no delay of payment. Because you see, when you look at this cleaner or this casual worker, this person depends on this money for subsistence at home, and they should be paid promptly. So maybe this should be subcontracted. Number two, that is one suggestion. Number two, then whoever is supposed to really pay these casual workers should be compelled in some way to ensure that they are paid, because this is actually an act of injustice.
Yes, I know there are so many questions rising from that, and I will leave. Let me give my colleague a chance to be able to ask one.
So it's your proposal that you would suggest as a county public service board member that instead of the county hiring cleaners and those casual staff within our health centers, we should do contracting.
So that you see, so that this person's welfare is taken care of. Because if the county government is taking time to pay this casual, and we are talking about someone who will buy unga using this money for supper, and there's no other money for tomorrow, then it really hurts this person if this person is not paid. So I'm thinking maybe a better way of doing things for the sake of these casual.
Do you normally follow, are you a keen follower of the current affairs or current happenings within our county?
Not so much, yes.
Because if you would have been a keen follower, you would know that in fact the cleaners have been downing their tools on several occasions, yet they have been on a contract. The services have been on contract basis.
Chair, and that is why I said somebody has to be compelled to ensure that these people are paid using all ways and means. Because you see, this is a case of great injustice to someone who is not able to fight for themselves.
Madam Irene Choge, I would want to give you an assurance that subcontracting has proved not to be working in this particular county, because as we speak right now, the honorable member is asking you if you're keen on current affairs. We're trying to run away from contracting these particular services because it has failed and failed over and over again. So I think you will have to reconsider that for you to be able to get a tangible way of being able to solve this problem. Now, as we conclude, just before I give you a chance to give us a parting shot. Number one, you have talked about the Public Service Board, you being a member, if given a chance, having a work plan that ensures that there are regular quarterly reports submitted to this assembly. Madam Irene Choge will be seated here as the appointment committee that gave you a chance or did not give you a chance. In case we give you a chance, we will be here to be able to see what you will be able to deliver. And again, you have talked about the disciplinary matter that in your suggestion or in your view should take between 1 and 3 months. We have so many disciplinary cases that are pending right now as you come into office. Madam Irene Choge, this particular committee and this particular county assembly will be seated here for it to see that in that 1 to 3 months, as a member of that particular service body is given a chance, what will you have done in regards to those disciplinary charges, cases that are facing a number of employees? Now, to the last part, you have talked about employment, that natural justice should take its course. We will be here to see that every appointment in this county, you being a member of the service board, if given a chance, actually have natural justice in appointment. So I want to give you a minute to give us your parting shots.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I wish to thank this panel for having me. Thank you for your questions. You've given me the things that I've thought that should be done, and I thank you. And God willing, we shall ensure, if appointed, we shall ensure that justice, fairness, equity, and non-marginalization is done at the Public Service Board, so that the people of Nandi County, I'm not saying they were not treated fairly, are treated fairly and humanely as required by the law. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So this committee will sit and present a report for consideration by the county assembly, the whole county assembly sitting, and we will let you know of your fate. So I wish you well.
Thank you. It is 2019.